I love how they did that rapid, with the vocals like that. Gotta get out of here. Another word to sell, another story to tell, another tango swinging the bell. You hear the clock stop when you reach the end. No, you know, must be never really comprehend. If you can't, but when you try to pretend to understand, you resemble a fool. But you only a mess, so give it up and smile.
Can I make an observation about that part?
Yeah.
And maybe how it's like a symbolic mechanism, whereas like you've progressed throughout over half the song at this point, and everything becomes faster. And when you progress through half your life, every time seems to be moving faster than it did when you were younger. And it kind of mirrors that feeling of time being sped up once you reach a certain age, because that age where you become cognizant of the fact that you have an expiration date, those seconds seem to tick a lot faster than they did when we were, I don't know, 18 years old. So the music almost does that funny thing where it begins to speed up. So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
It's showtime, folks.
Greg, I hear tell around the old water cooler here at Into the Music Enterprises that you may have a tune for your old boy Andy. Is that the case?
I don't know where you're going with that one. Yes, I have a tune for you. Would you like to see it?
I'd love to feel it.
Touch it, hear it. All right, let's stay with hear it.
Yes.
Okay. How about Tally Hall? You know the name of the group?
I think I've heard that name before, but I'm not familiar with them. They're pretty new-ish.
My friend, I was once like you. I was like, Tally Hall? Tally ho. But
Tally
no.
ho.
I didn't know too much about them until I stumbled upon the song. And after I got up and I brushed myself off and I listened to it, I'm like, I got to give this to Andy because I keep going back to
I've
it.
I've definitely heard of them, but I haven't listened to them yet. So this will be a good as reason as any to go off and give it a listen. What's the track by them?
Oh yeah, that's important, right? Ruler of Everything.
Ruler of Everything. quite ominous. Okay, let me go bow down to the ruler of everything and give it a listen, and I'll circle back with you.
All right.
Juno was mad, he knew he'd been had, so he shot at the sun with a gun. Shot at the sun with a gun. Shot at his wily one, only friend.
In the gallows or the ghetto, in the town or the meadow, in the billows, even over the sun, every end of a time is another begun. You understand mechanical hands, or the ruler of everything, ruler of everything.
This is fun, and my ears enjoy everything that they're hearing right now. I would have to say the vocal track that doesn't have the bass or the tuned down sound, actually, and even the brightness of the music is actually giving me like a Ben Folds kind of feeling to it. But let's keep going on. This seems kind of fun and thoughtful, so I dig that.
I'm the ruler of everything in the end. Do you like how I dance? I got draconian pants.
Consequential enough to slip you into a trance.
Do you like how I walk? Do you like how I talk? Do you like how my face disintegrates? I have a wonderful wife, I have a powerful job. She criticizes me for being egocentric. You practice your mannerisms into the wall. If this mirror were clear, I'd be standing so tall.
I saw you stop her over clovers on the side of the hill.
I was observing the birds.
Looking into the kill. I've been you, I know you, you're facade is a scam.
You know you're making me cry, this is the way that I am. I've been living a lie, a metamorphical scheme.
Detective undercover, brotherhood, objective obscene.
Oh no, no, oh yeah.
Wow, what a shift. And that portion actually right there reminds me of a band. I mean, it sounds good. I'm not a huge fan of who I'm about to compare them to, but I've heard a few of their songs. And it reminds me kind of like a 21 Pilots type sound to the vocal delivery. This is really cool, what they're doing here. And I don't know what it's about, but it's giving me the vibe that it's about an internal struggle with one's like ego or id. And that's always an interesting topic. So yeah, we're gonna keep on going here.
Gotta get out of here, another word to sell, another story to tell, another time we're swinging the bell. Do you hear the clock stop when you reach the end? No, you know, must be never really comprehend. If you can, but when you try to pretend to understand, you resemble a fool, but you're only a man, so give it up and smile.
Understand mechanical hands, all the ruler of everything. Ruler of everything. I'm the ruler of everything in the end. Without looking down, gliding around like a bumbling dragon, I fly, scraping my face on the sky. Oh no, no, oh yeah.
Interesting. Well, forgive the few dog barks in there at the end. That's my security system. But luckily the song was over. So I started off thinking, yeah, the beginning of the lyrics started reminding me of someone struggling with their own ego or their own id. But then I became, and the staring at the face of a clock will do this to you. And the listening to more of the lyrics as the song went on, it almost reminded me of, there were some parquet courts elements to this about time and how perhaps it's the ruler of everything, and what you do with your time while you're here and what your accomplishments may or may not mean when it's all said and done, as you can't take it with you. But yeah, that's just first listen, first guess, but I can't wait to get back to Greg and kind of chop this up a little bit more. This was a really great, almost kind of an eccentric pick from him, but I really, really liked it. And I am back.
Yes, you are.
Yes. Man, this was fun and quirky. It kind of reminded me like the same genre or the same kind of writing and musicianship is kind of like parquet courts, which we did, was a big hit with me in the past.
Yeah.
Kind of just like the whimsical songwriting and lyrics and just the overall topic of the song itself. But yeah, there's this like, and this is probably apropos to the entire song and its theme, but there's this ticking sound coming from the keys in the beginning where it's almost metronomic, and it goes along with like sort of that facade of the stopwatch or clock that you have in the video. And it just seems to me that time is this ruler of everything. That is the, you know, namesake of the song. And kind of like the theme is that what we do with it, or how we view what we've done with it, might not be as important as we think when it's all said and done. There's this vocal delivery in the earlier parts that is and I'm talking about the part that's not manipulated and turned to the low, you know, it sounds to me like it's the same voice, but you're getting it in different registers through some sort of effect or, you know, production. But the part that isn't manipulated almost has, and even kind of the songwriting to this point in the song reminds me of kind of like Ben Folds, which is like playful key stuff and interesting lyrics, lyrical content. And I think we've done some Ben Folds on the channel before. And then and this is where I'm starting to draw a little bit of correlations with Parquet Chords too, as I'm listening to it. And again, it's that kind of lyrical content. And then the music shifts, the song shifts, and you get this like vocal rapidity that's like like it's almost like rapping style delivery.
I love that.
And the tempo shifts. And at this point, I'm now reminded of a band I've heard a few tracks from, but a band called 21 Pilots, which is also a more modern band. And then during this part, there are added sounds here that are here and then gone again, like just ancillary sounds kind of in the background, not in the foreground, that almost have kind of like a Strawberry Fields vibe to the sound. And that was kind of interesting to me as well. I really, really loved how clever this song was, because it kind of takes the person apart. Like there's this part where like the guy's being really egotistical and how he's talking about himself. And then I think that ego kind of gets stripped away as it becomes more and more understood that time is the ruler of everything. I really, really thought this was a fun song, and it was kind of like a surprise pick from you. For at least, you know, coming from the stuff you've given me over the year here, that we've been doing this, but I loved it nonetheless. And this is like, for me, probably going to end up being on my playlist because it's so fun and interesting. And I love the lyrical content.
Yeah, every once in a while, I'm full of surprises, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Honestly, not for nothing, but when you give me anything that is like, that I know is like after 2010, I'm like, oh, this, and I haven't heard it. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. If it caught Greg's eye, then it'll probably catch mine as well.
Yeah, this caught my eye on YouTube. It was on my feed, or I don't know how I found it, but it was, I think I had heard some other songs from them. I was like, there was something about this though, that right from the beginning with those little, the little key, you know, sounding like a clock. I was really intrigued. I liked the person who I got the song from, you know, on the video. I just like what they did with the clock. This big freaking clock, you know, sort of like reminded me of like one of those movies, you know, like maybe showing people in a workplace and it's dark and they're all at the desks, you know, and you got this big clock on the wall, and like, you know, everyone is just basically there,
slave
just
to it
from this start time to this time. And then I was listening to the lyrics, and I went into the lyrics, and yeah, I mean, it's simply, to me, you know, we're almost here to basically, like, as soon as we came out of the womb, we punched that time clock, you know, and that clock is just continuing, but at some point it's going to stop. And everything, as you said, you know, what you do during that time, you know, and so he was singing about those kind of things, you know, those sort of scenarios, or
because he's also talking about like how he's egocentric and his wife reprimands him for that or gives him shit for it, and then like, if my mirror was clearer, I'd be taller, like, which is to say, like, he sees himself as like, he has a bigger ego, he has a pretty big ego. And then I don't know, it just seems like it kind of he strips that away the more and more he talks about this idea of time. You know, no one's gonna remember that. You can't take it with you, and you know, it's not gonna, sometimes what we perceive is going to be our legacy or some great feat
Right.
really isn't that impressive. I mean, we're all doing the same thing here for the most part.
And to me, he's singing in time. So when he's talking about the egocentric thing and like that, that's happening, I think, in an earlier time of his life, when you don't really think about time. You just think about, what you can get out of this world and make your mark and all like that. And, could be selfishness and all like that, just everything that goes with that. And as years goes on, right, a lot of times you start to get it. You start to
Yeah.
think a little differently. Maybe start to think more about, your relationships and what you say and what they mean, and how they could harm or hurt or help people. You start actually thinking about more your impact, on life. And as time keeps going on, time keeps ticking, and then you think about your life, and then you think about mortality. You think about
Yes, yeah, the
about
expiration
your
date,
end,
right?
your expiration date, and then you
Yeah.
realize that holy crap, maybe I could have spent earlier time in my life doing this, that, and that, but instead, I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
And then you just look at life more like this big clock. So yeah, I just found just the lyrics fascinating like that. I loved how they changed it up. It got that kind of sped it up. I love how they did that rapid, with the vocals like that. I mean, if I didn't like have the lyric video up, I just would have been like, huh? But
Hey, can I make an
yeah.
observation about that part?
Yeah.
And maybe how it's like a symbolic mechanism, whereas like you've progressed throughout over half the song at this point, and everything becomes faster. And when you progress through half your life, every time seems to be moving faster than it did when you were younger, and it kind of mirrors that feeling of time being sped up once you reach a certain age, because that age where you become cognizant of the fact that you have an expiration date, those seconds seem to tick a lot faster than they did when we were, I don't know,
Yeah.
18 years old. So the music almost does that
Yeah,
funny
yeah,
thing where
yeah.
it
That's
begins to speed
excellent.
up. So yeah, that's kind of interesting to me.
And I think that's a fabulous observation, man. That's fantastic. I want to point out too that what got me with the song initially, I loved with the ticking the clock thing, and then the guy comes in, his voice is kind of warped a bit, and then it sort of goes right into this in the meadow, la da da. It just the
Yeah.
melody that comes in, I love that. It almost knocked me over. That was the thing that grabbed me with the song. So, but here we are. So let me just talk a little bit about the band, American rock band, Ann Arbor, Michigan. They formed in 2002. They're known for their upbeat melodies and whimsical lyrics. Actually, I think they self-describe their music as wonky rock.
It
They
is a
have,
little bit of that. I definitely pick up the whimsical kind of lyrics too.
yeah. Consists of 5 members, and they're distinguished. They're distinguished by the color of their neckties. So guitarist Rob Cantor, yellow. Guitarist Joe Holy, red. I think Joe's the guy who actually wrote the song. Drummer Ross Fetterman, gray. Keyboardist Andrew Horowitz, green, and bassist Zubin Zedke, blue. And every member provides vocals for the band. So I think it
that's
actually
cool.
is different guys kind of singing. So I don't know how many guys from the band is
Or
singing
maybe
the
from
song right
track to
now.
track, it's different
Maybe,
singers.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think there might be 1 or 2 different guys on this one, but who knows? This was written by Joe, and from what I understand, he is obsessed with the infinite. And so I was like, oh, the infinite. So I looked it up. I thought it was gonna be a movie or a book, and this seems to be a movie, Infinite, but that really doesn't make sense what he was obsessed with. From what I can gather, though, the infinite could be, and I think this is what it is that is that figure 8, the symbol
Yeah.
for infinite, and
Yep.
he's just fascinated by time and space and everything that sort of goes with that. And so obsessing over that, thinking about that, came the song.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting that's what inspired it, because like we're sitting here talking about like a beginning and an end, and that's what the song reminds us of, and what time reminds us of every day.
Yeah.
And yet he's inspired by the idea of like no beginning, no end, the infinite, a time and space without a beginning or an end. So yeah, it's kind of fun and interesting. stuff. You could tell these guys are clever just by how the song was written and the lyrical content.
And I know we sort of lyrics like that, but I know it's kind of quick and also let me just go over the song, the lyrics. Juno was mad. He knew he'd been had, so he shot at the sun with a gun. Shot the sun with a gun. Shot at his wily one only friend. In the gallows or the ghetto, in the town or the meadow, in the billows, even over the sun. Ah, every end of the time is another begun. I like that. You understand mechanical hands are the ruler of everything, the ruler of everything. I'm the ruler of everything in the end. And then, do you like how I dance? I've got zirconium pants, consequential enough to slip you into a trance. Do you like how I walk? Do you like how I talk? Do you like how my face disintegrates into chalk? I have a wonderful wife. I have a powerful job. She criticizes me for being egocentric. Ha 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 ha. You practice your mannerisms into a wall. If this mirror were clearer, I'd be standing so tall. I saw you slobber over clovers on the side of the hill. I was observing the birds circle in for the kill. I mean, a lot of this is really intelligent lines. I mean, it's really interesting. I've been you. I know you. Your facade is a scam. You know you're making me cry. This is the way that I am. I've been living a lie, a right? Like, oh, the realization. I've been living a lie, a metaphorical scheme, detective undercover, brotherhood, objective, obscene. Oh, no, no, oh, yeah. Do you hear that flibbity, jibbity, jibber jabber with an, oh my God, I've got to get out of here, or I'll have another word to sell, another story to tell, another timepiece ringing the bell? Do you hear the clock stop when you reach the end? No, you know, it must be never ending. Comprehend if you can. But when you try to pretend to understand, you resemble a fool, although you're only a man. So give it up and smile. Do you hear the flibbity, jibbity, jibber jabber with an, oh my God, I've got to get out of here, or I'll have another word to sell, another story to tell, another timepiece ringing the bell? Do you hear the clock stop when you reach the end? No, you know it must be never ending. Comprehend if you can. But when you try to pretend to understand, you resemble a fool, although you're only a man. So give it up and smile. Time, 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 and just that ticking that takes you right out.
Yeah. And the music, I think, goes back to that ticking sound at the end to kind
Yeah.
of book it, how the beginning, and it's, obviously makes sense, and it's a well thought out idea to bring it full circle with this infinite thing that we have going on here.
I thought they could have shortened that a little bit. I was like, come on, that went like almost 30 seconds, but I
think they were making an artistic point, but yeah, you're right. I think they could have made the same point in 20 seconds versus whatever it was,
All right, cool.
But yeah, man, I dug it. Thanks so much for this one. I'm gonna go ahead and put a bow on it if that's okay with you. Everyone out there, tell us what you think of. Is it Tally Hall? Is that right? Yes, Tally Hall. Let us know what you guys think of that. This is a first listen for me, and I was really surprised, and I really like what I heard, but I'd be interested to hear what the people out in the listening audience think as well. If you like the video, please hit that thumbs up. It sure helps us. And if you feel like subscribing, you're always welcome here. But until the next episode, we will see you guys later. This is Andy, that's Greg, and this has been Into the Music.